Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. It's Anthony from Music First Production, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about what does a high pass filter do and should we be using it on everything. When I first started out, I realized that my mixes were sounding harsh and thin, and it might have been because I was just high passing way too hard. And that's usually the first thing we go for once we're done the volume and panning on our tracks. So let's clear all this up in this video and stick around to the very end. I'm going to be doing a comparison. So if you're nerdy like me, you'll be interested. Let's jump into it. Let's go ahead and pull up a EQ. So this is the Pro Q3. Pretty sure you've seen this one. This is the Frank's Red Hot Sauce of EQs. We'll go ahead and engage the low cut. So low cut and high pass filter are exactly the same thing. Companies will use different names, and FabFilter picked the better one. So we have it engaged. What does it do? So it's going to remove low end at a corner frequency. So I'm going to play this guitar and you'll notice what it does to the audio. We have a look at this filter. We have a couple options when it comes to changing the steepness of the slope. So underneath low cut, you'll see 12 dB per octave. If I change this to 6 dB, now I have a more gentler slope. And if I increase it to, let's say, 36 dB, now it's more aggressive. So two things. How much should you high pass your instrument? And what slope should you use? It's gonna come down to what are the instruments in the mix. So in this mix, I know that there's going to be a bass guitar, and the low end of the bass guitar is going to fight with the low end of the guitar. So what you want to do is figure out the point where you're starting to remove a bit of low end from the guitar to allow space for the bass guitar. So when it comes to slope, you want to keep in mind wherever you select the filter to start cutting, so the corner frequency, you're going to get a bit of a bump at that point. So you might not see it in the analyzer, but it definitely is happening. And the more aggressive you go, the steeper that bump is going to be. You can use this bump to your advantage, but the disadvantage is when you start using the same point for all your filters. So let's say like 100 Hertz high pass filter on 20 tracks in your session, you're going to get a huge bump in that area. So to avoid that, just pick different frequency points for your filters. All right, time for the juicy question. Should you put a high pass filter on everything? So there's nothing that you should do when it comes to music, audio, working with these tools. Most people learn from experimenting and figuring it out for themselves and figuring out what works for them. So when it comes to this question, should you high pass filter everything? I tend to high pass filter most things. Find that most things have a buildup in the low end, and there's a benefit from cleaning that up to make room for other instruments. So if you do end up high pass filtering everything, so every track in your session, there's one thing to watch out for. So let's make your life a little bit easier. Anytime you place a high pass filter on your track, watch what happens. I'm going to highlight this track, pull up the Pro Q3, set the filter at 150 Hertz just for fun, and pay attention to the waveform on the right that's highlighted. Now render the file. Well, totally fucked that one up. So there's a clear phase shift that went down here. And the issue with that is these are 3 microphones on a single guitar amp. I already corrected all the phase. Now after placing that EQ, it's messed it up again. So The way around this is to you want to go to your EQ, you have the Pro Q3, and change the zero latency into linear phase. So this is going to make sure everything stays aligned the way you found it. And the second option is to just bus all 3 microphones to a single aux and then aim the low end from there, or place your high pass filter from there. Before we get to the last part, hit that like button. Let's jump right back into it. So just for fun, I recorded 2 kick drum tracks. The first one has no high pass filter, and the second one has it engaged on the mic. So let's zoom into the waveform and see if there's some phase shift. We have a look here at the top track. The cycle's going down, and then here in this track, the cycle's going up. So there was a slight phase shift. Is it a problem? I don't think so. Just something to be aware of when you're doing phase alignment. Alrighty, that's all I have for today. Hopefully that was helpful for you all. And if it was, just leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. And if you want to join the family, you can hit the subscribe button. I recently just put out a free PDF download. It's the 5 stages to a pro song. So if you're writing music and you feel like something's missing, you can't quite figure it out, the guide will guide you through it. So download it below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.